People, deluded, I'm back again. You lot are crazy the way you lot react to me saying people. It's a habit and it's just caught on. But moving on, for context of not even why I'm doing this vid, but when I'm doing this vid, excuse the bipolar weather and the wind. But Spurs have just lost, or I believe it finished 1-0 to Bournemouth. They went down to 9 men. It was a crazy game. But obviously, as you can see, a new toy of mine has come and I've been playing with it all night and I've been playing with it this morning. That sounds so wrong, but been messing around with it, and I thought, you know what, might as well just, as I'm here and I'm thinking about what I'd like to see us improve on next season or pet peeves I've seen this season, I thought let me put a little vid together and if nothing more, just provide some entertainment. Now, because you lot have been with me from the days of the blue, where is it now? See, I'm a bad guy, man. As soon as I get a new toy, I dash out the old one. But you've been with me since the old tactics board. Ignore all of this. You've got Arsenal's back four, five including Leno, right? I'm going to talk about a few things, but first, I want to talk on a few things defensively. Now, obviously, you can see us. Can you? Yeah, I'm holding my phone the right way. You can see the whole screen. Apologies if you can't. I'd like to think you all can. But as you can see, back 4, 5, including the keeper. Normal position. At current, there's nothing to take away from this, people. That's a line. That's how it should be. They should be all moving together. They should all be dropping together. You get the point, people. Just for a little bit of pleasingness. But, we all know in reality, football, a shape doesn't stay like that. A physical shape can't stay like that. That's why there's a lot of football drills and things like that in regards to just keeping defensive shape, people. Because football is not played like this. 4 people, 5 including Leno, just standing like that. One pet peeve of mine, and I've seen a lot, oh, don't drop. I'll go in depth because it's just come into head now. But seen a lot of this season for me, people. If we bring the ball into play now, do you know what, let's just say, the black one's the ball. Obviously, the blue's the opposition. Let's just... how do I do this for you lot? Let's just say, as you'd expect, we're shuffling across. Let's just say left back. Cola's gone to engage it. Koscielny, whoever, is obviously shuffling across. Socrates is shuffling across as well, people. And as you'd expect, Maitland-Niles or whoever, assuming Bellerin, because he's been part of it as well at times, all shuffle across. As you'd expect, there's nothing wrong with it right now, people. It only looks like there's one blue man, one opposition player at this moment. The problem is, everybody sees what's going on the ball. To the untrained eye, or to most people, you're just seeing literally the left back engaging with the attacking player. Football is an easy game. I'm not saying nothing new, and a lot of you understand this already. But football, again, the majority of what you do off the ball is what counts. Now, if you're a smart opposition player, and we don't need to bring every opposition player into play, people, yeah. But let's just say this. Let's bring these 3, because it just happens to be a good number. What are you gonna do? Your opponent, your Donny's got the ball on the right hand side. If you're smart, you make this run. Now, Koscielny's got a job to think about. Firstly, he's got to think, is he playing him offside or not? But subconsciously, Koscielny's got to think about him. So subconsciously, his body positioning is going to be altered. Obviously, by now, our centre-half will be tighter. But let's just say, my man decides to make a run. Do you see what I'm saying, people? Now, there's oppositions. Now, it's cool at this moment in time. It's 3v2 and stuff like that. It looks like we've got this situation under control, people, doesn't it? But then what happens? If you have 2 smart late runners, if you've got him running late into the box to join him, let's move this striker to the other side. But if you've got a late run, you've got options to make. Now, you'd expect, obviously... Oh, don't drop. You'd expect your midfielder to obviously tuck in. If this was the case, you'd expect your midfielder to tuck in as well, people, and follow runners. But let's just say the midfielders switched off, which you have seen at times. Let's just say these are our midfielders, which you've seen high up the field. There's an obvious area to exploit, people. But one area I don't want to go over your head is you see situations like this. This is our winger, people, right? That's our winger. I've already said attack in this space, so he's obviously going to press into this space. What do you also see? An opposition fullback. This guy here might be making a late run, people. To which, obviously, if Maitland-Niles is doing his job properly, he'll be closer in there. Our midfielder would tuck in and fill in as well. So we've got the situation covered. But final moments in football, like you've seen, it's this sort of run that kills us. To which Maitland-Niles has almost got 2 jobs now. And this is normally how they sneak in and score from us, people. Now, I'm not going to blame the winger, but you see many times our wingers not actually tracking back. Fullbacks unaware. Centre halves potentially out of position. Now, in this example, we actually look like we're playing quite well. But you get the point of as to where I'm going with that, people. I've messed up the screen a bit, so if you give me a sec to just clear it so I can go on with the second example I was going to bring to the fore, people. That's come to my head. I believe defending comes from the front, people. And as much as I think we've improved on doing Emery in numerous aspects, when I'm looking at other teams, I don't feel we defend the best from the front. That's not necessarily the strikers for me, people, or the attacking players. That could be the midfielders and things like that. Obviously, it sounds stupid, but for the opposition to score, they have to build a phase of play to come into our box, people. And at times, I feel when we can take the sting out of teams, make cynical fouls, potentially press spaces, it doesn't always happen. Best example, if you go and look at the goal that we conceded, ironically, we've got them tomorrow, Brighton away, catalogue of errors. And that's been a familiar circumstance of ours. So, let's move on. Let me think I've remembered everything. Where's my checklist? So, yeah, we've spoken about shape. We're going on to shape, so we're kind of speaking about it right now. So I just crossed that one off. But let me clean this off, people. Now, what formation should I do, people? Well, not like you can answer that, but let's just, let's just do a typical, a normal. Let's not complicate it. Let's just do 4 at back. Apologies if I'm not giving you lot the best of views, people. You lot know me, but obviously got 4. Let's have a pivot. Let's make the pivot a bit deeper just so it's a bit more pleasing. Got pivot. Let's do our 10 roll. So we've got 4. We've got 4 2. We've got 4 2 1. No, what am I talking about, people? We've got 4 3 2 1. We've got doing a Christmas tree thing. Bugging out. Where's my other thingies? Just make 1 cam, 2 wide players, and a striker. I'll probably alter it and do the example of the 2 strikers, our 2 strikers. But let's just say this, people. That's our shape. To make it a bit more what I'm talking about. And before I start, please ignore anything until I tell you it's active, people. But let's just say what realistically you're going to have them there. Let's put a fullback. Let's put him high up the field. Let's put him high up the field. You're going to have an opposition fullback. You've got the 2 centre halves. You've obviously got their striker. Their fullbacks are quite high, so let's just put them back. Got 4. Then obviously you're going to have a 3 in midfield, potentially. Obviously, they've already got their striker, people. And it feels so good to actually have all the right amounts. But if my math serves me correctly, they've obviously got the 4 fullbacks, the 3 midfielders, and now 3 up front, essentially, or 2 wingers and a striker. Now, people, everything is active. Now, we're obviously the Reds, they're the Blues. Now, football is about stopping things, people. And how many times we've spoken, well, we'll get onto it, but if the ball's active here, you think we've done our job, people. Obviously, that we get into shape well. But for me, it's when the play is actually getting going. We don't necessarily stop things before it happens. And what I mean by that is, typically, we allow too many teams to play out from the back, to get out from the back, to play it into fullbacks, to play it into them, to play it into there, to have opportunities. Or if not, to make it more pleasing, if it's played, let's just say, what can we do? Keeper's played it. Keeper's taken it here, people. And he's played it into his fullback. That's a good ball, right? Because his fullback's got a couple of options now. If he gets his head up, he's got the wide man here. He's got a couple midfield options. Now, if he's doing his job and he's closing him down, that's great. He's done his job. But what I don't think we do enough is a midfielder might stop to themselves and think, okay, let me not attack that area, because once I vacate this area, they've got 2 runners. And then my man is going to have to drop. See how you see now the space has gone now, people. I don't feel if it's not his fault, but if he should, a light bulb should go off, and if the event that this happens, a light bulb should go off in this fella's head and say, let me drop in. I feel at times we drop back. Do you see what I'm saying? So if they don't do it, there's opportunities for us, and I feel that's where we kind of go wrong at times. We don't necessarily defend off the ball well, or sometimes we'll allow people to play out from the back, and I feel, but it's not necessarily just Aubameyang, but when we can just cut out play, people just don't get there. And obviously if we don't just get there, this ball can be played from my man into these channels, and it's a 2v2 or things like that. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's probably what I want to see a bit better. So we've spoken about our shape on and off the ball. If I make it well, no, I've already kind of explained it. I just want to see us kind of cut out phases of play before oppositions have been given a chance to develop with us. Another pet peeve as well would probably be, this is so frustrating when it comes to taking it off people. But another pet peeve would probably be, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to get them all to a corner. Apologies for the delay, people. You don't know I'm not Sky Sports and that. But listen, don't ruin the vid with this dropping nonsense, man. I keep hitting it, people, with the back of my hand. But cool. Another pet peeve of mine would also be, people, if that's Leno, obviously this is out of play what you see from us, people. I'm not going to do 3 centre halves to make it easier, but you'll typically see when Leno's got the ball, we want to play out from the back. 9 times out of 10 you're going to see our centre half, pull out to the edge of the area. Our fullbacks are going to get in a decent position. I'm running out of things. How can I be looking for them and they're up there? I'm moving slow. But our fullbacks are going to get into decent positions. Typically, obviously, people, I know we play with 2 midfielders, 3 if you're counting Ozil, right? Or whoever. But typically, when we're trying to get the ball, where's the black one to make it easier? If Leno's got the ball, this is what's typically going to happen, people. It's not going to be that, as you lot see yourself, if this is Xhaka, for example, removing them, well, just keeping it as a pivot, Xhaka's going to come here. As these centre-halves separate, Xhaka's going to come here. Why? Because Leno's got 3 options. Leno can either play it into Xhaka, and Xhaka being a regista or whatever midfielder he's supposed to be in our lineup, should in theory get the ball out of his feet, and look to play progressive passes, whether that's with another midfielder, whether that's our fullbacks, or whether that's a direct ball, obviously, into the strikers. So losing my trail of thought. If nothing more, if Xhaka is to do nothing more with that, to do nothing more from making that run, is to take someone with him, because an opposition midfielder should go with him. In theory, people, football is like chess. If people are consistently moving, gaps in some sort of position on some area of the pitch are going to open. So if he follows him, and he's taking his opponent out the game, Xhaka, via making this run, Leno can obviously play it into either Torreira or Guendouzi or whoever. Then you've got Mesut Ozil, and then obviously you've got the 2 strikers. But typically, people, I feel that we don't play direct enough. I feel we're predictable in the sense that our only width really, well, to be fair, I want to make it make sense, people, for you lot. But and the 3 at the back probably highlights it the best for us when we play 3 at the back. Whether we play 3 or 4 at the back, this is typically what you see, people. As you lot know, our wing-backs, come on, stop acting up, man. Our wing-backs present our width clearly. Because I don't know whether it's personnel, whether that's not playing to Aubameyang's strengths or whatever, but our full-backs are the ones providing the width. You've obviously got the midfielders. And it's not to scale, but then you've got Lacazette and Aubameyang. Now, personally, a pet peeve of mine, I don't understand on a general basis as to how we don't play direct enough for Aubameyang, innit? If this is Aubameyang, that's a poor A, but if that's him, I feel at times, Leno's done it on a couple of times, look to find him on a quicker basis. At times, strikers, centre-half, look to find him. Midfielders, look to find him. Do you see what I'm saying? I feel Aubameyang at times, he's too isolated, because we want to play in front and play from A to B to C, or go from there, backwards, side to side. I feel Aubameyang becomes frustrated, and if we quantify it by putting some opposition players into it and making sense of this, people, if you're a team visiting the Emirates, for example, like against Crystal Palace, and you're a defensive, let's just put a defensive pivot here, you're laughing, aren't you, people? If your star striker that should be getting runs in behind here or efforts there or linking up with players here, Aubameyang is king of the last shoulder. If he's not been able to do that and he's having to make runs like this or come deep, and you're obviously able to keep your defensive shape with your other players on the field, whether that's the 10 of the other team mucking in, a striker coming back. Obviously, it's not to scale, but kind of a 5 or so at the back, or just keeping 2 banks of 4 and things like that. Just make it actually 2 banks of 4. You can see how if we make this Aubameyang, how Aubameyang is isolated, people. Then obviously when our pivots getting the ball, it's all in front. When 10's getting the ball, there's no movement. Do you see what I'm saying? Potentially, we've got to look to either improve that. I know I've focused a lot or honed in a ridiculous amount on potentially it just being Aubameyang. But I think that's where it comes down to us needing to make more movement as a team, people. Obviously, we make movements, we make runs off the ball and things like that. But I just feel we don't do it enough, and I'm a big fan of movement on a football field because it takes other people away. Obviously, we've got good movement collectively as players. If you look at some of the link-up play Aubameyang and Lacazette have done, Ozil in there with them, and numerous goals we've scored this season. I'm not saying we don't have that because clearly we do, but where's the... Do you know, I want a cloth, man. So apologies, people. Obviously, look, you see my shorts and that. No one's on a funny boy thing, but let me get a clean sock just because it's the quickest thing I can find. Don't know why I did that, but, you know, didn't it feel it? I feel there's not enough movement. I feel like Arsenal, as a lot of you lot know, definitely going to fix this by the next time I do a tactics with, but come on, bro. You're ruining it for everyone. It's ruining it for you lot. Oh, what did I break? You know, I'm just going to hold this in my hand if it acts up one more time. Alright, cool. Alright, cool. It's going to have to stay crooked like that, people, until I think the screws are coming loose, so I didn't put them in properly. But I feel, and not to scale because I'm insulting you lot's intelligence, but I feel we don't make enough runs off the ball for people. And maybe it comes with personnel because I feel we need some wingers and things like that. Maybe it comes with personnel, but I don't feel we make enough movement off the ball for the man in possession, whether that's our defenders, the supporting cast in terms of the front 3 or front 2, whether that's the midfielders, whatever. I don't feel there's enough positive actions, and I don't have the answers as to why it happens. I just feel if my man's got possession, I just feel too many people stand still. Like if Aubameyang, if you've got Aubameyang, if you've got Mkhitaryan, not to name drop people, Iwobi, just bare players on this, Lacazette, let's just say bare different names at this moment, or Ozil, or whoever. Everybody's instinct is to come to the ball. Everyone wants to come to the ball. Everyone wants to come to it. Do you see what I'm saying? Aubameyang at times, he makes these runs, but we don't hit him. So maybe he's just thinking, oh, if I want the ball, I'm going to have to come to it. Now, 9 times out of 10, if he's coming to the ball, there should be another player to exploit that space. But it doesn't happen at Arsenal. So what does that allow? That allows the visiting team, their defence, to just really soak up pressure and gain confidence to the point where you'll see their fullbacks having a go. Because they back themselves in a foot race probably against everyone apart from Aubameyang if he's not playing. But you get the point. I feel in short, if we make this let's keep it with this. I feel there's not enough movement, man. I feel at times if Aubameyang's staying up there, then someone's got to come short. Then a midfielder needs to take advantage of that space. Then someone's got to come. If my man's in possession, there's got to be different movement for players, people. I don't necessarily see enough of that. Maybe that's through a wide man coming in, because like I said, 9 times out of 10, people, if we just make this the left-hand side and pretend it's the second half, you know the only real width from an Arsenal team, if you're a visiting team, is going to be Cole Lasjanac or Maitland-Niles if he's on. You know, typically, Aubameyang might be there. Aubameyang and Lacazette will probably be there. You've got Ozil. You've got Ozil. You've got our midfielders who are gonna come up here. Not Maitland-Niles. Who have we got? That's the midfielders, strikers, midfielders. Our fullbacks in Maitland-Niles and Kohler are gonna be here. Let me try and fit them all in to make the example, people. But we're all gonna get up. Our Arsenal players need no invitation to get up the fielders if the ball's in the opposition's half. They need no thingy. If we just do a quick free at the back, you know we play a high line. We come forward as a team, whether that's sensible or not. Because apart from Socrates, is anybody really skilled in a foot race in our defensive back 3-4, whatever you want to call it? But you typically know we come up the field. Because of our movement, I feel everybody comes to the ball. If we're in soaking up, if we're having possession in the opposition's area, everybody's coming to the ball. It becomes congested, people. There's not really, and it's a difficult thing. I don't really see enough movement, enough different. If my man, it's not even about. Sometimes you make movement knowing you ain't got the ball. I keep focusing on Lacazette and Aubameyang, people, but sometimes Lacazette might just have to come deep purely because it takes this player with him for someone like Aubameyang who would be on side to take advantage of this space. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't feel we see enough of that. I feel typically everybody comes to the ball and it's only really Kohler who provides our width, or you see this kind of consistent ball down the channel kind of on. Now, if you're the opposition and like I said, you're defending against us, your back, I wouldn't say your back's against the wall, but you know, come Arsenal, soak up pressure sort of thing. My hands are hurting, people. Well, I'll take them down for a sec. But you probably back yourself to soak up pressure against our men and then hit us on a counter-attack, which you've seen because we're in your half. If you stay in yours home half, you can't be offside. What do you typically see, people? The opposition, their keeper, they soak up their pressure. Their keeper might get it. He might bang it into my man, who's made a run and's not being picked up. Who bangs it into my man? Do you see what I'm saying? Who's now onside. To make it a bit better, let's say Leno's there, who's now onside. You might see a couple man recovering, etc. Things are going down. People are trying to make runs to support it. But you see one guy creep through the back. Balls come on. Guys are onside. Boom. Bang. Like you saw with Zaha, ball over the top from Scott Dannon against Palace. Or Yotta's against Wolves. Or, apologies people, or the many that happened, well not the many, the couple at United, the away at Liverpool. People, deluded. Apologies for it obviously cutting out there for whatever reason, but we was talking about the tactics board or whatever. We've spoken about everything. I don't really have much more to say on that front, but like I was getting on before it cut out, there's been a series of what I feel that when we concede a lot of our goals, there's a catalogue of errors or catalogue of moments or points is developed where we could have put out the fire, which we haven't. So if we can improve at that, improve our movement and just improve the way we kind of track runners off the ball, it will go a long way. And I feel away from talking about personnel to come into the club and who should we sign and this centre half and this winger and this and that, we've got to look at what we need to do on the field as well. And Unai Emery knows more than everybody what needs to be done because he's working with the players day in, week out, week in, week out, and has been for the duration of the season. But for now, people, I really have nothing more to say. So I'm going to be an honest man and get out of here and not waste any more of your time. People, thank you for watching. Apologies for obviously it cutting out. Deluded, I'm out.